This example says the number of tickets sold at Six Flags varies with the daily high temperature. So our job is to figure out which one is the independent and the dependent variables. What I first do is I underline or highlight the two things that we're talking about in the problem. So in this case, we're talking about the number of tickets sold at Six Flags. And the other thing we're talking about is the temperature, so the daily high temperature. So if I write it down, I would get tickets sold. So I'm just making it a little bit, not too wordy. And then the other one is the temperature. So my job is to figure out which one is the independent, which one is the dependent. I actually use two phrases to help me figure out the answer to this. So like the first phrase is the independent variable influences the dependent variable. So the independent, notice the prefix in has the same prefix as influence. So the independent is the one that influences. And the other phrase I use is the dependent variable depends on the independent variable. So my dependent, notice my dependent depends. So this dependent is always going to depend on the other one. The independent is always going to influence the other variable. So those two phrases help me figure out which one is the independent and the dependent. So I'm going to show you now how I use it. Looking at my two variables, I ask myself which one, if I want to figure out the independent, which one influences the other. So I just say, okay, do the tickets sold influence the temperature, or does the temperature influence the tickets sold? And in this case, it makes sense that my independent would be the temperature, because I know that if it's hotter out, then more people are going to buy tickets. So this is going to influence the tickets sold, right? And if it's really cold out or it's rainy, then less people are going to buy tickets because, again, the temperature is going to influence the tickets sold. So this will be my independent, and then that makes this one automatically the dependent. And then the other phrase, I use the phrase independent influences the dependent. The other phrase is the dependent depends on the independent. So I look here, if I read it this way now, the tickets sold depends on the temperature. So, right, the tickets that you saw is going to depend upon the temperature, which makes sense also because, right, this is going to depend upon how hot it is or how cold it is. Hotter it is, more tickets I sell. The colder it is, less tickets I sell. Or the more rainier it is, the less tickets I sell. So basically, bad weather means less ticket sales. So basically, this is going to depend upon the temperature.